Hello, everybody, and welcome back to...
Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Excuse me.
Is she...
No.
Is she right behind me?
Yes. I'm actually right next to you.
Hi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Shameless in Chicago. It's your host, Nin.
And I'm Luke.
And yes, I am back. I know you guys missed me because honestly, I miss listening to the sound of my own voice when these podcasts were released.
We renegotiated the contract so she'd finally come back and stop striking.
Yeah, see, the thing is, Luke doesn't pay me enough to be here. The podcast was his idea. And
Okay,
he does,
hey, listen. Whatever my mom pays you to be my friend is yours and hers business, okay?
Yeah, Diane, I'm going to need some more money.
Hi, Mom. You missed your payment last month, by the way.
And that's why I wasn't here for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, actually... I heard you were on one crazy, amazing adventure.
I was. So, guys, if you remember in the last podcast episode that I was on, which
like
was...
a million years ago when she thought we were just a memory.
Well, it was like 2 episodes ago. You're so dramatic. I wished everyone a happy Assyrian New Year. And as a result, I went to Iraq to go and celebrate the Assyrian New Year.
You went to Iraq? Okay, first question I have there. How warm is it? Because in Chicago, I feel like it did not go above 40s.
It was really warm over there. It felt like a Chicago summer.
Oh.
That's what the weather was like.
Oh. Perfect. And was there any like notable experiences you had there? Like, were you nervous at all flying like out of the country with just a couple of girls? Like, what happened? Give me the skinny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll be so real and so honest with you guys. The last trip that I went on in August, I went to Iraq for my first time, and that was with my church. So I was like comfortable because, you know, I knew the church was watching out for me. I had the elders there. This time around, it was just my sister and my cousin, and we went on our own. So that was an experience because we were basically trusting ourselves and the friends that we made that we had only known for like less than a week to take care of us and to treat us right. And so everything. And so it was a lot of faith and a lot of faith in God. Like, he instilled absolute zero fears and zero anxiety inside of me. Like, I truly believe that if something is bad, like, you'll feel it in your gut. Like, they really say, like, trust your gut. And the thing is, my gut was fine. Like, my gut was like, you're safe, you're fine. Like, don't worry about it. But like, my anxiety wasn't there either until I got there, until I landed there. I started having anxiety. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this. And it felt so crazy. And this time around, I didn't only go to like Erbil. I went to Baghdad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went to both.
Now, I definitely had to ask you, since you are pretty well traveled. At this point, you've been halfway across the world twice.
Yeah.
What is better, Southern hospitality or Middle Eastern hospitality?
I feel like I haven't experienced Southern hospitality. No,
I feel like you've been all over in the U.S.
I really have been, but I have never, like, the South. The most South I've been is Tennessee.
Well, you're definitely not the 10 I see. Moving on.
Oh, that was rude.
Of course, the culture in Iraq is a lot different than that of the United States. What's some things that you kind of experienced over there that would pretty much send me into a coma as a first-time visitor?
Ooh. Okay, so I was talking to my friend Brie about this, and one thing that I think she would really enjoy, that I think people would also enjoy, is the village life, which is very different. I personally... Listen, you know me. Like, you know, when we went to like Carbondale, I was like that first episode of Schitt's Creek. Like, am I being pranked? Get me out of here. Like, it's so far away from a major city that I just felt in isolation. I didn't like it. Like, you know, Carbondale was so different for me because I'm so used to like Chicago, city living, all of that.
Yeah, your girl's not really used to seeing the actual stars in the sky because her light pollution's basically there as a security blanket.
It really is, yeah. And but when you take me to Iraq, I become a village woman. I'm literally like, keep me in the Assyrian villages. Like, the Assyrian village of Bedouad is in my heart. The Assyrians also live in Dedaluk, which is also an Assyrian word for the Church of Luke. And
hey,
yeah,
we're in there finally.
And it's literally such a beautiful village. And like you see how everyone lives their life. I think the one thing you would be surprised about is everyone leaves their doors open.
Oh, really?
Like everyone. And they don't call each other, be like, hey, are you home? I'm going to come over. They literally will go. Is their door open? They just walk in.
Oh, no. I lock my sweater up. Like that's how secure
I literally
like
lock my windows. Yeah.
I check the doors 3 times a night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
I am late to work because I make sure the cats are safe on the inside, locked up.
Oh, and you want to hear another crazy thing that they do over there is that the doors remain open and that everyone, like, you know, like let's say there's like 5 people in the house. It's the last person in the house, like, to lock the door. So that last person can come home at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like you will go to sleep and fully entrusting that 1, you're safe, and 2, that the last person's going to come home and they're going to close the door and they're going to lock it.
I can imagine some teenage years are rather awkward. Who left the door open all night? Not me, not me, not me.
No, but because they do it all their whole lives, like they...
That's pretty much second nature to them?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Another thing that I found interesting is that in the States, we're very like, you can't eat past like 7 p.m., you know, otherwise you're going to get fat.
Hold on. Who is saying that we can't eat past 7 p.m.?
Well, you know, like the American culture, they say like, don't eat like before you go to bed. It's really bad, blah, blah, blah.
We're on different algorithms.
Okay, clearly. I'm on a different side of weight loss TikTok. But it'll whole ass be like 2 o'clock in the morning and they're making pasta.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
because you guys are up until like 4 in the morning, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing. They're literally awake until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. This was funny is because like in Iraq, you will hear the call to prayer. And when I heard the 4 a.m. call to prayer, I was like, it's time to go to sleep.
As everyone's waking up to say hello.
No, like literally, but over there, it's so nice because the malls are busting at 10, 11 o'clock. And I feel like I discussed this in our last podcast is that like, you know, I like to stay up late and I'm not really a morning person. So to have like an entire country of like, you know, Middle Eastern people and really seeing and understanding that we're really all the same is just so comforting. And it's so nice being out at like 1 o'clock in the morning and like families are out, like kids are out at 1 o'clock in the morning. And here it's like, you're out until 1 o'clock in the morning. Don't get killed. Don't get kidnapped. Whereas over there, like everyone's out.
My parents put me to bed at sunset.
No, literally.
Like, they're like, oh, the sun's down. Get to bed, kid. We have to watch Law and Order.
Whereas these parents are like, all right, kids, it's sunrise. Time to go to bed.
Don't get sunburned. Get inside.
No, literally. It's so different.
And
yeah.
how long is like the drive from like the airport to where were you staying?
Okay, so Erbil is like a major like city hub. So Iraq is like, you see it's Iraq, but it's split up into 2 different sections. So you have Iraq proper, and then you have like the Kurdish region. And so like that's like the region of territory that Iraq has basically given like the Kurds, and it's semi-autonomous. So like the Kurds have their own government, they have their own rules, their own laws, all of that, except they still are governed by like an Iraqi passport, Iraqi dinars, all of that stuff. So it's like semi-autonomous in that sense. And so Erbil right now is like become a major city. Erbil is like the capital of like Iraqi Kurdistan is what they call it. And so because it's its own like region, you're seeing a lot of investment right now. So there's a lot of diversity. Like you will see so many Americans and French people on our way there. It was like so many French people. And I talked to the guy next to me, and guys, this was like the funniest thing. But I was like, why are you going to Iraq? Like literally straight up. Cause like I see the Assyrians there. I'm like, okay, you guys are going for New Year's. And then I see like a French person and like all these white people and they're speaking French, like, you know, and I'm like, why are you going to Iraq? And he's like, for business. And I was like, cool. And like, you know, we're American. So I'm trying to have a conversation with this French guy next to me, and my cousin's next to me, Mariam, and she's like, you know, you're American because you keep smiling and wanting to have a conversation and he doesn't. So anyways, we went to Erbil because that's like the major city hub, the whatever. And then I was in Dahuk. So that's a 2-hour drive. And that was my favorite. Erbil is it's a polluted city. It's definitely polluted because over there, they don't get like continuous access to electricity. They use generators. And because Aruba is more populous, the population has actually gone up in the recent years. That, of course, there's more generators, so you do smell a lot of gasoline, and it just feels a little bit more dirtier over there, which is really sad. Arabel, fun fact, is actually an Assyrian word for Arbailu, and Arbailu means 4 gods in ancient Assyrian. So for it to continue to keep its name is really cool. So I like that. Dahuk is a Kurdish word for 2 mountains, and Dahuk is all mountains. It's beautiful over there. And then it used to be called Nahodra, but Nahodra in like Assyrian times. It's really cool, like just seeing like the names of the places and how they change, and just seeing your history. And also in Ankawa, which is like a sub-district of Erbil, every like sign is written in Assyrian. So that's always nice.
It must
too.
be pretty refreshing.
It's so refreshing. And then when you go to places, everyone's speaking Assyrian, and like if you go somewhere, people like the language majority over there is Kurdish, but then you have places that speak Assyrian, and like people do speak Assyrian. And it's interesting. It's an interesting interaction between the two, because if I meet a Kurdish person, like I don't speak Kurdish, right? So I'm not going to speak it. And I don't speak Arabic either. I only speak Assyrian. So when I talk to them, I'm like, maybe they understand English a little bit more. But no, I find it that like mostly they understood more Assyrian if I spoke to them in Assyrian. And so I appreciated that. And I think it's really important for like Assyrians and Kurds and Arabs and everyone to just coexist over there, guys, because those lands are beautiful. Do not let anybody divide you.
Facts. That land belongs to the world.
Period. Yesterday was Earth Day.
So I remember just a couple days ago, I was watching some stuff on the TV, and it was showing a lot of like live feeds of Tel Aviv and Israel, but it was talking about a lot of, airborne missile launches that were heading towards, Iraq, I believe Syria, and, some other countries in the Middle East. Did you ever experience anything out there in which, you could say, oh, wow, everything that's happening is kind of terrifying? Or
Yeah.
Oh, do tell.
So you have a lot of like political issues over there. And so right now you have like the PKK, which is, I don't know exactly what PKK stands for, but it's like the Kurdish military. It's different than the Peshmerga military. It's like 2 different things. You guys can Google it. But basically the PKK are at war with Turkey. And so Turkey will like drop bombs and stuff like that in the mountains, because that's where like the PKK like resides and stuff like that. When we were going to the village of Deraluk is literally a village in the mountains. And if you guys go and watch my vlogs, you'll literally see what I mean. It's like a village and then the mountains are encompassing it. And so in that village and on your way there, you will hear bombs, which is a little scary. I'm not gonna lie, especially from an American perspective, it's really scary. What's interesting to me and what's also really, really sad is that they're more afraid of dogs out there than they are of bombs.
Why are they afraid of dogs? Do they have rabies?
No, they're afraid of dogs because they don't really house dogs, so they don't have much exposure to dogs.
Oh, so they're afraid of puppies.
No, they're just afraid of dogs.
Oh, poor dogs.
Yeah, but they're not afraid of bombs because they have so much exposure to them.
That's honestly terrifying.
It's so sad. And when we were driving there, we had to drive there at a certain time because the bombs usually go off mostly at night or like evening time. And so it is scary, and you will hear them. And in my vlogs, I think I do capture some of them. You do hear them go off. Bombs sound like thunder is essentially what it sounds like. When you're driving to the village and you're driving out of the village, you'll see like lights on top of the mountains. And I was like, what are those lights? And you'll see like planes and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's where like the Turkish military has taken over. Like, we claim this territory now. And so that was scary, and it was very interesting. And then when we went to Erbil, so the U.S. has an embassy in Erbil, and as you guys have heard in the news, that the U.S. embassy has been under attack by like Iran and stuff like that. So we were in Erbil, and we were in a park, right? And so like the U.S. embassy is like not too far from like that park where we were, and so the U.S. embassy has like automated drones or whatever, like
I would say like missiles or something.
Yeah, they have a lot of like protective stuff. If you want to see your military dollars in action, just go to the Middle East.
Yeah, go wherever you're not in the country.
Yeah, because you will see those dollars in action. And so my sister, like, we're in this park and she sees something. She looks up and she goes, "What is that?" And I'm just like, a shooting star. Like, I had no idea what it was. And then all of a sudden you see something and then like grabs it and it's like, oh,
It just blows it up in the air.
I don't
It
know.
intercepted it.
It intercepted it.
I can't imagine they would have like a grappling hook and be like, let's bring this explosive down.
No, but it just kind of like disappears. It was like really weird.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And also like Edinburgh is polluted. So like it kind of got lost. I don't know where it went, but it was a very interesting thing to see. It was very interesting.
I didn't even know you had that on your bucket list, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't even have it on my bingo card. But again, like when the missiles get taken down, it literally sounds like thunder. So then we go to Baghdad. So that about was the same day we went to Baghdad, okay? So we went to Baghdad, and mind you, everyone's scaring the shit out of me. They're like, don't go to Baghdad. It's scary, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I'm terrified. I'm scared to go right now. But there is this actual American YouTuber. His name is Doug Barnard, and he goes to Iraq all the time. Baghdad is like his favorite place. And I followed him on Instagram and I saw he was doing an American travel thing in Baghdad the same time that I was going, because people were telling me that I was going to have issues for my American passport. They're like, they hate Americans over there. They're going to hate you for your American passport.
Propaganda.
Yeah, I was like everyone's scared the shit out of me. But like the Assyrian Iraqis over there were like, no, you're fine. Like, you're going to have fun. You're fine. Oh yeah. So people were like, oh my God, you're going to have such a hard time because you have an American passport. They're like, you don't have like Iraqi citizenship. You don't have an Iraqi passport. And I'm just like, no, I haven't done my paperwork for that yet, because my parents were born in Iraq. So like you can get it through that, but I didn't do it. And they're like, ooh, we're scared for you. And I was like, ooh, okay, I'm scared for myself now. But I was fine. I don't know. Like I said, again, like my gut feeling was like, you're fine. You're safe. Like if you were supposed to be like scared, God would not let you go there, type of thing. So I wasn't anxious, nothing, thank God. So all was well. So when I went to Iraq and I went to Baghdad, I was totally fine. It was $80. It was like $77, $80 to get a visa. It was visa on arrival. And it's really cool because like on the visa sticker, it says like, welcome to Mesopotamia. And I was like, my heart, like it was so cool. And guys, the amount of Assyrian representation in the Baghdad airport and just like all around Baghdad in general is absolutely beautiful. We'll insert pictures here on the podcast if you're interested in seeing, but literally they have like Ashtar gates, they have like the Code of Hammurabi, like literally so much Assyrian representation over there. It's like absolutely beautiful. And so like just seeing on the visa, like welcome to Mesopotamia, I'm like, oh, I'm so here for that. Like I love it. So moving forward, if you guys want to see the Baghdad trip, I'll have it all uploaded on my YouTube, and I'm gonna film a video talking more about like the difference between like Iraq proper, which is what they call it, and the Kurdish region of Iraq, so you guys can like really understand and like where everyone's coming from. 2 days before I'm supposed to leave to come back to the States, I get text messages, the airport is closed, like I'm getting it from like left and right, and I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, this is not fun. Like,
I would even have like anxiety if I was just coming from Arizona and I got a text message the airport was closed. What do you mean it's closed?
You know what's interesting is I wasn't that scared that the airport was closed. I have slight anxiety. I feel like the times when I'm supposed to be anxious, like my brain is already like mentally preparing. So I'm like, okay, well, I have a visa. So that means I can just get in a car and I can just drive up to the north, like the Kurdish region. And then from there, I can meet somebody. And then if you guys look on the map, like that part of Iraq is very close to Turkey. And Turkey, the airport was open. So we're fine. Like, So the airport was closed because if you guys look on a map, Iran is next to Iraq, which is next to Jordan, which is next to Israel.
This is sounding like my 8th grade math class.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 1 + 1 + 1 = 4.
Everyone's sitting next to each other.
Everyone's sitting next to each other. So if everyone's sitting next to each other and Johnny throws...
Johnny throws the first missile at the U.S. Embassy.
So no, Iran had launched its, missiles to Israel. That's what its goal was. And so what you hear in Iraq is because Iraq, there's a lot of U.S. embassies over there. There's one in Baghdad, there's one in Erbil, and all of that. And U.S. is on Israel's side. So it's like putting out those missiles. And so you have Assyrians that are like, we're in Baghdad and we hear those missiles being taken down. And then there's Assyrians in like Erbil and Ankawa, and they're posting like they hear it too. And so it's like we're both hearing these missiles being shot down. And like what you have to constantly remind yourself is that you are not the target. And so like the entire time, me and my cousin are just in the room together, and my sister, and we're like, we're not the target. It's okay. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, you're just the collateral.
We're fine. No, we're not even collateral because the missiles weren't aiming for Iraq. So we're like, okay, like it was terrifying. It just really puts into perspective so much, because you hear about this stuff in the news, and I was on TikTok and like American TikTokers were reporting on it, and it's like, okay, the entire world knows that this is happening, but the effects that it's having on the people, like imagine the people of Baghdad, like 20 years ago, they were getting bombed, like they were the target. And for them to just constantly be hearing missiles and bombs is like, do these people not deserve to live too? Like, do these people not deserve to live a happy and healthy lives, like, and to thrive? I hate how they've become like the collateral, like the ground for war, like just because of the color of their skin. If you guys see pictures of Baghdad, which we're going to post, it's a huge city. Like, it's a huge metropolitan city. Like, they've built it up, and like you will still see buildings that are like war damaged, like they didn't repair them. But then you're also seeing investment in the city. Like they're building hotels with malls attached to them. And it's like, it's really cool. It's really cool. But yeah, it was scary. And then when Iran was like, okay, guys, that was just like a little hee-hee threat. Israel, you better stop. Otherwise it's going to get worse. And I'm just like, guys, please stop. Like, honestly, just stop. Just stop. So, and then the airport opened up the next day. So we were fine. Thank God. I was able to get to America safely.
That sounds like one wild journey, and I cannot wait to watch those vlogs when they come out on your channel at Nin's Vlogs on YouTube.
Yes, I can't wait. I posted like a couple of them. I hope you guys watch them, enjoy them. But the whole point of my vlogs is to like humanize the Middle East. It's for you people. You YT people. No, it's for everyone. It's not just exclusive to white people. It's like everyone in this world who like, I mean, even Assyrians were like, don't go to Baghdad, it's scary. And I'm just like, guys, we're fine. Like,
It's kind of like when people say, don't go to Chicago, you'll get shot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'm just here to show you all that they're people too. And if anything, they are the nicest. They are the sweetest people. Propaganda out there is so real. Like, it's so real. And like the first day that I went to Iraq, I was anxious. I was so anxious. And it's because the American propaganda, despite the fact that I had already been in that country previously, had gotten to my head so quick. And then like when I was there, I felt so safe. And I feel like that's so stupid to say, but like Americans all the times are like, did you feel safe when you went there? And you're like, yeah, I felt safe. But like genuinely, I felt safer there than I do here, because it's like, I'm not afraid that I'm driving and somebody's going to have a gun and pull a gun out on me. Like, I'm not afraid to go to sleep and my doors are unlocked because people respect your privacy in that way. Like, I'm not afraid that my food is poisoning me because I know everything is freaking grass fed. Like, I'm not afraid that Monsanto is like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you pet the goat that you ate later that day.
No, exactly. And that's so important. Yeah, guys, the chickens, eggs that I was eating, like the chickens were laying them outside.
And then squeeze those eggs right out of the chickens.
I mean, you just got...
And all you hear is...
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're hearing. But it's just an overall different experience. And I would highly encourage everyone who hasn't been outside of the U.S. to go outside of the U.S. and just see how other people live their lives. And yes, it might be scary to venture out, but you guys have to remember that if you look at us on a map, we are in a bubble. and we are in our own Western bubble. We just have the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, and the U.S. and Canada are basically the same shit cut from a different cloth. And then you have Mexico, which we spew so much propaganda that they're the enemy, whereas we stole their lands. So just remember, we're in a bubble, and venture out. See how other people live their lives.
Pop that bubble, but let's be honest here. It would take us 5 hours to drive across Texas, and that would get you right across Europe. So America 1, Europe 0. Geography.
And the world is more than just Europe. Go to the Middle East. Go to Asia. Go to India. Go
to Africa. Yes. Africa is a well-developed country.
Dude, I know.
People have this weird concept that Africa is like all safari. No, there's cities there. There's people. There's cars. They live everyday lives.
Yes. I mean, be educated about where you're going, like educate yourself before you go to that place. But guys, if you go on the U.S. travel website and it tells you Iraq, it's like travel for advisory. Do not go. Tell your loved ones your passwords and make your will and all of that. It's like, you guys are so freaking dramatic. It's crazy.
Well, I'm certainly glad we have you back, even though I do feel like your friendly insults have gotten a bit more intense.
Have they really?
Just a little bit.
It's because I didn't have anybody to bully the way I bully you.
My self-esteem was almost unshattered, and then we got right back to it.
And how do you feel about that?
Go back to Iraq.
No, you don't, because Luke literally sent me a Snapchat, and he said, I feel like you've been gone for a month, even though it's only been 2 weeks.
I thought we weren't putting our private feelings on this podcast like that. Why would you call me out?
Because the world needs to know how much you actually love me.
You're a terrible person. You are my red flag still to this day.
I am nothing but green flags. So...
Well, I definitely loved hearing about your trip, and I can't wait to go check everything out over on your YouTube. Again, everyone, that's at Nin's Vlogs over on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We've got a couple of those up already, so go give them a like, go give them a share, go check them out. They are amazing, beautiful. The landscape is amazing. The culture is awesome. I love doing the dance at the festivals that we do, so watching those happen on screen, how they're supposed to be done, looks very, very satisfying.
Yay. Thank you for embracing my Assyrian culture and like just hearing about it.
Of course. I love it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you really enjoyed some of the insight about my most recent trip. I hope you guys all enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to like our videos, subscribe to our podcast, give us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening to this, and don't forget to subscribe to Nin's Vlogs. And
I'm Luke on TikTok.
And we will see you guys all here again next week. We are here for you every Wednesday as an audio and every Thursday as a video. And thank you everyone for listening.
All right, everyone. And be sure to join us next time as Nin tells us about the trip that she took to Australia when she meant to book Austria.
Why do I feel like I'd actually do that?
Australia has an actual counter for those who booked for Austria.
Do they actually?
Yes, they do. It's happened that often.
Oh my gosh.
And then we have another trip in where she went to India when she meant to drive to Indiana.
What?
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.